Chains clang, bodies bang, rivalry displayed. Slanted to the chains like lions in the cage. Toronto crowd wild, unleash all the rage. In the summer, in the summer. Just Jake got the insight, give you all the thrills. Every move, every glance, he breaks down the skills. Fast holding it down, he deep in the zone. Chamber review so slick, it can melt stone. Hot spots, hot spot, hot stone. In the zone, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, in the somewhere where we breaking it down. CM Punk, John Cena tearing up the town. Broke half on fire, no one spit it better. Reviewing like a beast, no one does it clever. No one does it clever.
I was wrong. And God, am I happy. Wow. What a night. What's going on, ladies and gents? Jake, a.k.a. Countdown Ended. I'm going to be honest. I don't get this a lot, but I got severely anxious watching that. My hands are still shaky. My anxiety was bad to begin with today, but the ending, I was like, oh my God, there's 45 seconds left. They're down to the wire. Is someone interfering? Is someone going to win? 2 SVBs back to back. That decided her fate. Stephanie Two Belts is a reality. No interference, no triple threat, just a straight up clean victory for our new NXT Women's Champ and defending North American Champ. I'm glad to see you all in the chat. We're live on Twitch and on YouTube. What's going on? This is Into Somewhere. We're supposed to have Spaz here, but he lost power. So we're going to see if he comes in and what happens. And I'm unfortunately not audio prepared to do anything else but him at this point in time. So, we're set for Spaz. So we'll see what happens. And if he can appear like magic, he'll be here. But that's okay. If not, we have you lovely people over in the YouTube chat. You'll keep me company. We'll see you behind me over there. It'd be great to have you all. And I was really expecting someone to come out and ruin the day. I did not truly buy into those news and rumors. You figure with everything that's been going on lately and how much they're trying to shovel out this distrustful nonsense every now and again, but it's to throw us off their scent. I really was hoping that Julia was not banged up at all and needed time to recover, but apparently that story's true, and Stephanie and her, instead of doing this at Stand and Deliver, did it tonight as a special at Madison Square Garden in the theater. The building, arena, whatever you want to call it, theater at MSG looked amazing. The roof having that kind of like laser inlay made it have like a very spacious and claustrophobic feel at the same time because people were so close, yet the ring looked gigantic. For whatever reason, it looked like a 40-foot ring during some angles. I don't know if it was a different camera lens or something they were doing, but all in all, I was very happy with tonight. This shoe just blew me away. I'm truly in love with just about everything we got tonight. I mean, we saw The Undertaker nod to Obafemi, telling him to go defend his yard. We've seen him do that a couple of times before, and look who it's turned out to be, John Cena being one of the few. He kind of gave Braun Breaker the nod and their little face-to-face in NXT. He said, you're going to be the man, but not yet, but putting him over still. And speaking of putting people over, the NXT champions putting over TNA. The NXT TNA story only runs deeper. I am just truly, like I said, in love with everything that we got tonight. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the show. Roadblock was a success. I really loved what we got from top to bottom. They, of course, as I said, were live in New York from the theater at MSG. Was a sold-out crowd. We started with the Hardy Boys coming out. Actually, no, Nathan Frazier and Axiom made their entrance first, and the crowd was hyped for this. Then the TNA Tag Team Champions, Matt and Jeff Hardy, come out. Their iconic theme, the Hardy Boys. How could you not be excited? How could you not want to dance and go and do the Jeff Hardy, right? So The fans in the beginning really just they gave it time, they let it breathe. This is what makes both of these tag teams so good at their craft. They know how to listen to an audience, they know how to kind of obey the storm. They hear the crowd at a fever pitch and they haven't done anything yet. So don't immediately go for attacks and locked ups. You know, they just they soaked it all in. They got the "This is awesome" chance, and then finally we got Axiom and Matt to lock up, and the fans did the TNA NXT chants, and they had delete chants, and it just was a good back and forth at first. You know, what Jeff's eventually tags in and does his leg drop combo, gets a quick near fall. Matt got another near fall. I think it was Jeff hit him with a clothesline, hit Axiom, and but they kept doing things throughout the night as well here that they would sow threads of, well, what's coming later, what's to come, what are we looking out for. And that was great as well. I was excited to see forethought put into things. We're seeing Javon in the back tape up his wrist while the picture is going on. This is when Frazier finally gets a house of energy behind him, starts hitting both Hardys with a bunch of Hardy super kicks in the face, and then he takes them both out with a suicide dive, and then Axiom does his crazy dive, and then Frazier follows up with even like another flip dive on both of them. It was nuts. These guys are just too damn impressive. And like I said, you have the history of the Hardys. They are amazing at tag team wrestling. They're great at telling a story. And for it being face versus face, and especially for it being a beloved team as the Hardys, them being here, they never got away from the audience because they kept it simple, they kept it short. Nobody was the heel. They just allowed both teams to get moments to capitalize. You see quick kicks and then a Falcon Arrow from Jeff on Axiom. That was great. And all of a sudden, Axiom's about to get hit with the Twist of Fate, but he escapes, and Matt tags in Jeff, and Hardy hits Axiom with the plot twist. And it was like, it was just a really good back and forth action. So the ending sequence was cool. You see Axiom, he goes and he gets the backslide on Jeff, and he hits Frazier with a diving kick. And that's all they needed. Matt saw it. They threw him out to the outside. They grabbed Axiom. They hit him with a Twist of Fate. Jeff gets up on the turnbuckle, lays out a heavy swanton bomb. You got about a 12-minute match. They put over the TNA champions on an NXT show for the Hardys' homecoming. I don't believe the Hardys are done with NXT or WWE. I think we're going to see them again either going for the tag titles in like a big multi-man match at Stand and Deliver, or something of the like. They'll be showcased, though, going further. While they're doing their nostalgia run, this has been a ton of fun. It's been really enjoyable. I've loved everything we've gotten so far. So shout out to all the awesome people in the chat. Judgment Day era, Gorilla Strong. We got Liz in there as well. Shout out to the people over on the Purple Place. I like the nostalgia act that they're doing here because Matt and Jeff don't look like two withered, recovering addicts. You know what I mean? Like they don't have that kind of aura around them of a DUI, and so it's enough removed from everything, and they've had time to rehab, and they weren't healthy in AEW. We knew that mentally they were upset about how they were being booked as well, so there were levels to it, and Jeff had the issues again while he was there, so just none of it was a great look. And since then, they've been stellar. The tag matches that they've put on, every last one of them has been top freaking notch. The crowd, and I mean, they're not going to expect 1,000% match, but they got what they outdid our expectations here. This was fun. This was fast paced. This was energetic. It was frenetic. It was chaotic. It was the Hardys, out and out. And Fraxium still get to go out looking strong because, all right, you lost to the Hardys, but no shit, it's the Hardys. Come on, what are you going to do there? Of course, you're going to get beat by the Hardys. And then on top of it, in a way where it was just a simple miscue, I don't think this is going to cause more dissension between these two. I think it was just for this match. I don't think we're going to see them split up. Watch, I'll be completely wrong again, like the Jordan Grace triple threat that didn't happen. We are getting the Bianca, Io, and Rhea triple threat, though. Look at those slaps to those women. She did not want to be an afterthought. Tell Io to that. Again, checking in with the chat, Trekopedia, we got Ryan Meow Meow the heel in there as well. Yeah, this really was a very solid show. Opening tag match was great. I'm sorry if you missed it, but you get to go back, watch it again. Roxanne Perez comes out next. Excuse me. Then we have Jordan Grace. This was a great match. This could have been, I should say, utilized as Roxanne's swan song with how well this was wrestled. Pretty much all of this was Jordan being taken out by the knee and having an injury angle thing to go on early on, and Perez, being that dastardly evil heel, just targets the injury like a buzzard to roadkill, and she just keeps striking and striking and striking and striking. She chops her leg out. She gives her clubbing blows, puts her in different different submissions and whatnot. She's using the turnbuckle bars as basically like a fulcrum to attack her legs, and just she wants to cause pain. This was a showcase for how great Roxanne is, and Jordan had to scrape and claw and come from underneath the entire time. Never looking weak, just looking damaged. And so she wasn't able to pull off a lot of her, basically her power and strength moves because she couldn't plant her feet, she couldn't ground herself, her legs would give out. So she lost a lot of her moveset, and she had to improvise. So not only does she look like a legit, intelligent heel, but Perez looks like an absolute beast here. She went through everything. She got out of the fireman carry, and then she hits her with 2 super kicks, and the chop block takes her knee out, and then gets her with a frog splash, and then immediately right into the crossface. And then she got it into a fishhook STF. Like, finally, Grace gets out of it only with a pin attempt, but she's in pain, she's writhing, and then all of a sudden she gets her with the Death Valley driver, and finally she fires up and she hits her with the Grace driver, gets the victory. About 11 minutes, 30 seconds. Awesome match. The commentators were like, oh, she entered beast mode. And I guess that's going to be kind of her, it's marketing and the gimmick kind of thing. Beast mode. But hey, I don't knock it. She is a damn beast. Those muscles, god damn, she is a hell of a specimen. Obviously, it's nice that Grace got her win back. Last time it was for a title or title defense with Perez, and she lost there, and it was an acceptable loss due to the interference of, I believe it was Cora Jade then returning. So this is a great, revenge point for her. Last week she got her vengeance on Cora. This week she did it on Roxanne. Took her out. She looks good, still slightly damaged, but a lot to go forward with. I'm telling you, though, the crowd did chant "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" during the Oba and Moose match. That's how the heel turn is in people's mind. They weren't bored. It was still action-packed in that match, and I'll bring this up more afterwards, but I had to bring it up because Meow Meow brought it up, and I can't deny Meow Meow. The Cena sucks, chants, and even anybody slightly cheering for him, I think they just did it to be dejectors. But it's been surreal the last 2 shows, seeing a bruised and battered, beaten, destroyed eardrum Cody Rhodes having to come out there and basically, not fend for his life, but explain how betrayed he was and what he's going to do about it. Is he going to get revenge? Is he going to give up and run away? Tail tucked between his leg? No, he's going to fight, damn it. And of course he is. It's Cody. But the crowd, the reaction is so unique and special. I genuinely cannot take how surreal it is to hear 100% boos for John Cena. Not to say he wasn't always booed loudly, but there were still young kids and females that cheered him. It was never 100% of the audience unanimously that booed him. If you want to count ECW One Night Stand, cut my nuts off, I apologize, but you get my point. I genuinely I want to see more, and I love what they're doing with everything here. It's exciting. I like that they're sending Roxanne on her way out. Jordan Grace is going to be a ton of fun. Hopefully, eventually she'll challenge Stephanie Vacour, and that'll be a main event for Stand and Deliver. Now that she's got both belts, I don't think they're combining them, as some people had said. There was a mention of having, it's a unification, but I think they meant like, she'll be the unified champion. So schedule conflicts over it. Schedule conflicts. That and weight loss. So I went ahead and I lost a soul. Souls are heavy. But there's so many storylines, and you're absolutely right, Meow Meow. There are so many, and I cannot get over how different, the feel is to even just a year ago with NXT. And since they got out of the 2.0 era about a year and a half after, so it took its time to really get back into the full swing of things. They had really good people there, and they're telling good stories, but what we have upcoming is so damn exciting next week too, and that's great. They're going to be back at Full Sail, and I mean, they announced what we already have Trick and Eddie Thorpe in that their underground match, so their MMA styles. TKO will be happy with that one. Give it a UFC name. And then we'll go ahead and crown some new division UFC champion over on this side. Good branding. But we're also going to get Chelsea Green defending her United States Championship against Sol Ruca. I want to see Sol Ruca and Zarya take the women's tag titles selfishly, but Sol did pin Chelsea Green in that match, so she does have a stake at the title. Going to be very interesting. I know they announced a few more things. We'll get to that after, but yeah, I was very positive on tonight. Really enjoyed it, and I really genuinely I hope that you get to go back and see it if you didn't get to see all of this. After this match, we get shots of Moose and Obafemi. They're walking backstage, each different hallways, about ready to come out. And then all of a sudden, Oba's walking. He passes the Undertaker, and Taker stops him, and he's like, "I've been watching you, and I'm very impressed. And you don't have to tell Oba how important this match is, but you go out there, and you defend your yard." And he fist bumps him, and I'm like, "Oh my God! Like that's strong. That you're putting him over big time." And it is impressively awesome because this man is a behemoth, and the way he moves is unlike any other with the amount of muscle he has. I genuinely cannot have my brain always comprehend how Obafemi is that impressively big. But the men come out. We get their awesome in-ring introductions. TNA X Division champion Moose comes out. Then Obafemi next. He's defending his title. And early on, you saw Moose get a chance to shine here. He was showing what he's about. He's dumping him out to the outside and getting clotheslined and getting taken out. But finally, Oba comes back at Moose with a Uranagi on the ring apron, takes him down, and they kind of right now they build to several different holds in the commercial break. Finally, they come back, and this is right when they showed Stephanie warming up for her match coming up shortly. So again, the what's to come idea. Don't go away. Love that. Moose was dragged by Oba to the top rope, and Moose hits Oba with a superplex. But then Oba no-sells it like out of pure adrenaline and hits a suplex on Moose. I was broken. Something just was like, wow, these men, because I'm not always high on the no-sell spots, but it was less of like a power-up thing and more of like a body natural reaction. Like he just had that much left in his tank for the moment and just could and followed through and then was out with the pain. So that was crazy. All of a sudden, these men are just bashing into each other, and Oba gets pump kicked a few times, and then he powers up again, and Moose gets out of it, and Oba all of a sudden gets hit with a power bomb, and you're like, oh wow, this could be, and it's a good near fall, but he kicks out, and Obafemi then goes ahead, and he picks up Moose and presses him to ringside, and I'm like, I mean, doing that in general is insane, but doing it to Moose, the other man mountain, is truly an astonishing feat. Finally, he comes in, he beats the count, and they're just beating each other down, and they get back in and back out. They go through the announce table. That was crazy. Big holy shit chants. I mean, that was a great sequence. The Uranagi looked flawless. All of a sudden, Moose hits Oba with his big spear, and the way he does the spear is when he does like the spear flip. So it's always kind of a unique thing for him to see, and especially doing that so perfectly on a man as large as Obafemi, making it look effective, following through with the flip, all of it. It's again fantastic, and it doesn't look as gymnastics as some of the other offset typically does. Um, uh, the fact that he was able to get out of it for the second spear and reverse it into his own power bomb was crazy. He gets the victory here. A good like 13-minute, 30-second match. I mean, we kind of knew that Moose wouldn't win here, but it wasn't with 100% certainty. The way they've surprised us with some things, I wasn't certain that the system wouldn't come out and ruin the day. But I just genuinely, I really am happy there was no interference, no nonsense. These two beat the hell out of each other all over, and he got the victory. It puts over, Obafemi even more, and the X Division champion losing. I mean, they're certainly not on the same level, but still, he is a major champion in TNA, and he just got pinned. And now he has to defend his title this Friday at Sacrifice against Jeff Hardy. Going to be a hell of a match there. I'm excited as well. Then we saw Zarya with Sol Ruka training backstage. And she's like, hey, Sol, it's time to train my way. And now you see them just in a smash room, destroying everything. And these are the, out of pocket, out of character, crazy, doing a shoey, axe throwing, nonsensical things that I want to see, because not only are they amazing in the ring, but you're pointing out their character, more and more, and their characteristics and how they interact with each other. And it's such a great ebb and flow. And the odd guys, the pairing, how could they ever work? They're so opposite, but yet opposites attract. She's the surfer girl and the valley girl and not into as much physicality as she loves, death metal and destroying shit. Works out well. The pairing is amazing. So opposites, again, always attract. We got Ricky backstage with Ava, and Fatal Influence are complaining, and he kind of shushes them away, as Ricky does, and he says he wants a match against Ridge Holland for running his mouth, saying he doesn't belong. And then we got one of my favorite moments, Ethan Page and Ricky Saints, eye to eye. And all ego Ethan Page walks by and says, they don't like outsiders like you here in NXT. And as I think it was Vic that pointed out, the irony. But the way he plays up the ego of him and how his ego truly knows no bounds is truly unfathomable at times, because this was epic. The selling of it, the look, all of it. I was blown away. Loved that. So excited to see what comes. I think it was a shit ton of fun here. This match absolutely far exceeded any expectations that I had during the street fight. I mean, right away, these two started off just pounding, ground and pound, beating the hell out of each other, and big kicks, and then finally they get sent out to ringside, and that's when Evans hits Paige with a big dive, and that's when we saw Julia warming up for her match coming up next. And this is when all of a sudden, Paige dodges a chair shot from Evans, and he brings the chairs in the rings, and all of a sudden he hits, and he hits him right in the back with one of the chairs. So then Paige, after he goes ahead, Evans grabs another chair, and he hit Paige a few times, and they just start beating the hell out of each other with all the, different weaponry. And eventually you see them suplexing each other onto the chairs. And, they drop kicked him onto Paige's face in the chair in the corner. That looked awesome. Finally, he gets a table out, and the crowd is just going nuts. They set up the table in the corner, and they went ahead and they're just, doing moves at the same time with how well they know each other. And all of a sudden, you saw Javon give Ethan a crazy blue thunder bomb on top of the chair. That was nuts. I got to read my handwriting better in my notes, but uh, they got a great pile driver on the chairs. You know, it looks like he was going to get it. All of a sudden, oh no, he reversed it and he hit the straight jacket slam into the chairs. And it's like, oh, he gets the 2 count. What a great near fall. You know, they did a really cool slingshot clothesline. And then all of a sudden, he comes off the top rope, and Paige hit Evans in the jaw with a right hook. And I'm like, they start saying, oh, he could have rebroken his jaw. And they make sure to point that out on commentary. That was great. Um, you know, they they then set up another table, and you know, did a leaping cutter through the table at the outside. This was insane. This was truly crazy. I was nuts for this. And then we saw him eventually do a running leaping cutter to the outside that took him to the announce table and hit him, you know, from the top rope, like clearing it. The look at the replay here. So clears the ropes, hits him, takes him over the announce table. Truly, I cannot. I one more time, just crazy here. Look at this, over the ropes, on the table, nuts. Loved that, and I could not have seen them going as far as they did in this match, but they kept it going. So all of a sudden, they up the ante here, and they go ahead and he hits him off after getting him from the table clearing. Javon, he gets him with a corkscrew splash back inside, really, really close. Looked amazing coming off the top rope there. I thought that was going to be the finish, but no. He then puts Ethan Page's head and wraps his head around. He wraps a chair around his head, puts it down, goes up, and basically does his twist of fate cutter RKO back bump, but he does it onto the steel chair, and it's just great springboard into the cutter with the Page, Page chair, steel chair, mind blown. God damn. I mean, so he's got the chair wrapped around his neck, head comes down, the chair explodes around him, goes ahead and gets the victory. 1, 2, 3. Great pinfall. Javon looks like an absolute beast. Love it. Absolutely love it. And like I said, the amount of brutality, they had to have that severe moment of revenge. We've seen him be battered, broken, and bloodied twice now. Evans has left in an ambulance multiple times because of all ego Ethan Page. Page had to be shut up here. And what a way to shut him up than smashing his mouth with an RKO to a chair off of a springboard cutter. God damn. I did not think that was going to happen, but whew. Hell of an ending. I thought Javon would win, but I didn't think they'd go as far as they did. Loved it. Then we had little back and forth. So Sarah Schreiber's out there and she's interviewing Eddie. He's in the crowd, and Mr. Thorpe says, "Doesn't matter. You can take the ropes down. You can do whatever you want in NXT Underground. And you can barely hear him because the crowd is booing so loudly." And he's like, "I saw the training video, but Trick doesn't know what he's getting into." He's like, "I'm the king of the underground who hit a man who doesn't like to be hit." And then all of a sudden, he's like, "I'm going to choke." He's like, "I'm going to make Trick choke like the New York Knicks." And the loudest raining boos you could imagine out of these fans rained down on him. Then pure joy as Trick shows up and beats the ever slapping piss out of this boy, slaps him around, drags him to ringside, tosses him everywhere like a goddamn washing machine set to spin. Trick stands tall and holds him, dumps Eddie from the ring with a clothesline, leans over, whoop that Trick. Got everybody celebrating. You got Booker T. I love it. Outa, and always pumps in this house. Excuse me. Then we had Chelsea Green showing up here, and she was typing up her match with Sol Ruka for next week, saying that she's gonna, take her out and destroy her. But hey, that's gonna be a great match. I'm excited for it. And they have now Alba Fire as well, working as one of the Secret Service for Chelsea Green. So, will she get involved in this match? I'm not sure. We'll find out, though. And then the main event, the pièce de résistance, the creme de la creme, the something for something, quid pro quo, whatever you want to call it, the main event. The NXT Women's Champion, Julia, comes out last because Stephanie and all that cake comes out first. These two look fantastic. Mike Rome handled everything here like a true gentleman. Didn't let his eyes avert from the prize. He had to announce these two as champions facing in a title versus title match. They started, and Julia was on top at first. They were doing kind of like a normal tie-up, but Julia was getting the better of Stephanie. They hit each other with some forearms and kind of went back and forth and started to go kind of for like mini suplexes and side slams. Then all of a sudden, Julia gets a 2 count, and Stephanie reverses it into a heel hook. I was like, that's ingenious. That's one of the things I love about Stephanie Vacour is how deadly lethal she is. As you see later, she manages to pull things out of her repertoire that people forget are even moves in existence, things that haven't been around in ages or haven't been popular, that kind of thing. And it's just, but she's always doing something new, or at least something that looks very technically incredible. So they finally go ahead, and Julia is able to get the ring to break the hold. And she, they hit each other. We get a big missile drop kick, and then all of a sudden we get a big plancha, and that gives us our, time to go ahead and get our next picture-in-picture break there. So afterwards, you saw the crowd kind of booing Julia for stopping Booker T's favorite move. He wants to see him, some booty shaking. So the crowd was not happy that the pelvic thrust didn't happen yet. So Stephanie then goes ahead and she takes Julia and she throws her into the bottom buckle, and then she hits her with a great Meteora. I have not seen one that looked that painful in quite a while, so Julia's going to be sore. Then we got the pelvic thrust. And this got over so big that the crowd was chanting Booker T by the way that he was celebrating. Smash it. It's great. I can't mimic Booker there, and I can't give him shit for it. The way he sells that, that's what makes Pat McAfee great. When the way he interacts with Punk, everybody has these little idioms and whatnots and things. So it's great to see him get these things over and these catchphrases. And finally, the Booker T chant dies down. And we get a big superplex off the top, and we don't have much time left, folks. The clock's ticking. I keep looking. This is why I wish the CW was able to give them overruns. And you don't want it to end there and then tell people, oh, now you got to go to YouTube to finish the main event. I get it. But this really needed just a little bit more time. I think if they didn't have, or if they did have an overrun, because the ending was very it wasn't rushed at all. But in my mind, you see the clock counting down. It capitalized when the ending would be. You knew either there's a pin here so they can quickly celebrate, or somebody's coming out, and then we got the ending. So they could have hid that a little bit better, especially the way they built it. But love it. Julia finally gets the. She gets reversed into a corkscrew kind of, and then she gets put into the rings of Saturn. And they make a great call here. Vic's like, she doesn't want rings, she wants titles. Love that. Again, doing the rings of Saturn. Who the hell thought that was going to happen? So pretty cool, but excuse me, they go back and forth running knees, and finally, Stephanie hits Julia with not one but 2 shoulder breakers. She gets the SVB. That's it. She wins. Clean victory. 11 minutes, 22 seconds. This was a very competently worked and fun match. I don't think it exceeded their Stardom match that they had about a year ago. And it's unfortunate. If she could only go so far and do the 11-minute match, and this is all she could give us, then it's great. I'm selfishly wishing for more, but it's not like we can't get more. So we can always see the rematch down the road, and when she's healthy, we can get something amazing. So I am not being negative in any sense. I'm just being selfish. I really want more out of everything here because it was so, so, so amazing. And I wanted to end the cap off the review with, the one thing that we I didn't mention yet intentionally. I skipped over it because this is something I really wanted to point out last. So Javon goes ahead and he's celebrating, and then we go ahead and the lights start flickering, and we get the spotlight focused on Lennox and the other three wrestlers that I never remember their names of, and they get their spotlights on each one of them. They go ahead and they ascend quickly to the ring, and they just start beating them down. And eventually they do like a pop-up shield power bomb, but it's like a toss power bomb as we've seen before. It's amazing. It looks fantastic. I don't know if it's an intentional knock on the Timu Shield gang or not. It could be intentional. This doesn't remind me of Retribution. This hasn't been corny. This hasn't been bad. We started to forget about these guys. Even Liz said it earlier. Where were they? I started to forget about them. I'm like, well, you didn't forget about them now because they just made a hell of a statement by attacking one of the upper baby faces on the roster that just got revenge on a heel that totally injured him horribly for not one but two different instances. And it's this was a lot. I mean, I don't know if they're going to do a lot to tell us who these guys are. I'm hoping that we eventually start to get more reveals here. I don't want to see this linger on forever in the same way, but hey, we'll see what we get. This leaves me optimistic. Isolated, this incident was badass. They making a name for themselves, right? Exactly. That's what we're getting here. That's what they're doing. It's been just, a little Timu Shield esque, but in a good way. I think it's intentional. I think there's something that's going to be played on here, and how the Shield did what they did to get what they wanted. I think they're going to follow the same playbook, maybe, but right now they're mask guys. Thank you, Black Ridge Official. I appreciate it. You, Paul, everybody have been great. Music's been awesome. Check out those guys for some great groovy tracks. They're on every streaming service known to man, so you can go ahead and look them up. Black Ridge Band, great over there to get your groove on. But yeah, Timu Shield. I do like the look of them. I like what we've seen so far, and I'm excited what happens going forward. All in all, I would give tonight a solid 8 or 8.5 even. The main event was damn good. Yeah, I could even say like 4 stars realistically if you really want it. Like even 3.5, 4. But it's not in a negative at all. It's just that I would love to have seen so much more from these two. It felt a bit rushed, and I know Julia, she originally had that really bad wrist injury that delayed her joining WWE because she got hurt in Marigold. So now we don't know if that's just continually bothering her, but the way she worked tonight, she's done great, and hopefully she gets time to rest, come back, and give us even more. Obafemi and Moose was fantastic. Realistically, that's something that I'd score high as well. The opening tag match, it wasn't anything mind blowing in the sense, but these two worked a very, very fast paced and aggressive match and kept up with Fraxium. So it was great to see the Hardys not just be a old, tired, nostalgia act. They're keeping up and they're delivering exceptional bouts. I forgot to mention Jada Parker was backstage with Mickey James, and she was kind of hyping up Jada, saying you need to go do what you want, go out and take it. And she's like, stand and deliver seasons here. You need to get, locked in and go for it. So a little bit of a positive influence there, right? Try all the juice boxes, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed tonight. I'm really happy. We kind of were looking through some of the newsline, the headlines tonight, and I plan to go over a bit more with Spaz, but with him unfortunately losing power or being assassinated, we're not sure which yet. Got to specify. He said help, but that could mean a great deal of things. He could be hunted by the cartel again. He might have wronged some drug dealers. You never know what's up with Spaz. So, still, what we got to look forward to is more of Nakamura because people were worried that he was leaving. Some rumor was started on the usual IWC Reddit rumor mill that Nakamura was done and he was leaving. Multiple sources, though, have confirmed with WWE as well that they have nothing to suggest Nakamura is leaving. He just lost the title because it was never going to be a long-term established thing. It was just he was more a transitional champion, and that was in mind. We did hear that Elektra Lopez was backstage at AEW Revolution, so maybe she'll be more than just visiting. Interesting to see if she signs there. And as of right now, we have four matches official right now for WrestleMania 41. So we have Cody and Cena, Gunther and Uso, Stratton and Charlotte, Io Sky and Bianca, and I imagine they're going to add Rhea to that as well. Now, we have a speculation for a bunch of the other matches, but those are the only four actually confirmed. And we're 40 days away. So some people have said the build was slow. The Cena heel turns certainly added fuel to the build fire to the road to WrestleMania. But all in all, I was genuinely surprised with the heel turn, but I wish they capitalized on it a little bit sooner. We saw nothing from Raw or SmackDown from John. Now, again, we're going to the second week, and Cody's having to come out and basically do the same promo. Not that it was bad. Cody is great at riling people up and getting people on board with him and being, a Cody Rhodes, do or die fan. But, there's a lot of anticipation for that Raw at 3 p.m. Eastern next week because they'll be in Brussels going live then. So it'll be airing at 3 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. And I think we'll be live after that Raw as well. It should be over by 6 Eastern or a little bit before. So we'll be live covering the review there. We'll see what's going on. But, yeah, Cody can't do it alone. He needs help. He needs friends. He needs a shield again. And unfortunately, Rollins is not that man this time. So we got to see what comes of it and what happens. But all in all, we're on the road to WrestleMania. We're on the road to Stand and Deliver. And it's been fun. I'm excited. This is a great time in wrestling right now. We're having this awesome wrestling renaissance, as I keep bringing up, and I'm along for the ride, and I'm loving it. I'm curious to see where they go from here in a lot of storylines, and more than just the bloodline like last year and Cody conquering, Roman and finishing his story. Now there's a lot of things that I'm interested in. They got me on Raw, and I discussed this earlier today with Cody. We talked about it. He was there live at Madison Square Garden in New York himself. He showed us some great footage, brought us some great photos. We discussed it earlier on the channel. It wasn't live. It was uploaded, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. Make sure you're subscribed to go ahead and turn the notifications on because we'll be live again for TNA Sacrifice this Friday, and for all the live PLEs coming up, you can go ahead and make sure you hit the bell and notifications for that. Check this out. He went ahead and he was there live for the, flipping out. And check out all the photos, video, and testimonial from him earlier in the day. It was great to go ahead and talk to him. Last week, Liz and I went ahead and we gave our predictions for WrestleMania 41, so you could check out that video. We're going to go ahead and reunite shortly on Twitch at some point, but besides the dual stream plans there, we're also going to go ahead and do a video when the WrestleMania card is finally confirmed both nights, and we'll see how right or wrong we were with our picks. That'll be a lot of fun. We got, SmackDown this Friday. We got to see what happens then. Should be a good night. We were previewing everything in the upcoming week earlier on today's show for Into Somewhere Weekly with Cody. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. A bit of a shorter stream tonight, I know, but unfortunately with Spaz not here, you got to have a bit more of just Jake one-on-one. Hopefully he's doing well. I will theoretically be joining him tomorrow for the State of Wrestling podcast. So make sure you're also subscribed to his YouTube, or you can follow him on anywhere podcasts are. Apple, Rumble, Spotify, all that stuff. Go ahead and check him out there. And thank you, as I said as well. Thank you to Cody. Thank you to Liz and everybody in the chat, making it a great night. I hope you all have had an enjoyable NXT Roadblock evening. And we'll be live again, I said, this Friday for Sacrifice and more. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, notifications on, and we'll see you all soon. Stay sexy. And as always, have a great evening.